G'day everybody, Farmer Wade here, coming to you from Parliament House in Canberra. Today is Tuesday the 2nd of September 2025 and we've been here now doing a fair bit of reporting and chasing up politicians to do interviews so that we can get out to the Australian people what is really happening and bring these politicians in many cases into a bit of a situation where it's not their comfort zone. You know, we see constantly a lot of the media who just cover up what these people do. It's an absolute shocker. And, you know, we've known this for a long time. But seeing how we've been spending a fair bit of time here in Canberra and actually attending Parliament and speaking to some of the politicians now about what's happening, we're starting to see a very disturbing pattern which is occurring. And we're starting to see which politicians actually are halfway decent and are really in the fight for Australia, and which ones are really just the maggoty, flea-bitten ones who, you know, they're only there to feather their own nest. They're not there to fight for you. They're not there to represent the people at all. So today, well, we're in the Senate yesterday and saw some pretty nasty, ugly stuff. We've heard a number of these politicians talk now, and you know, we've put out a number of calls to particularly these Labor Party people to. We'll also be talking to the Greens and a few other of these so-called independents and whatever. So we've been chasing Wade and Billboard Battalion. They're only after the giving interviews and airspace to conservative sides. So we just these lefties, a lot of the Labor Party, and asked them some questions to actually get some sort of transparency. So over the last couple of months, we've been chasing our old mate Lisa Chesters. Now, Lisa Chesters is representative for Bendigo, but we haven't been able to contact Lisa Chesters for, well, it seems to me that the only action that the Labor Party does is to help to destroy Australia. But we saw a young lady who was made her debut in the Senate last time we were here, last sitting time, and this is a woman called Charlotte Walker. Now, she's a senator from South Australia, and her claim to fame, and I think it'd probably be the only one, is that she's the youngest ever elected senator in Australia at 21 years of age. So, and that's a really fantastic achievement. So in anybody's language, it doesn't matter which side of politics you're on, that is a terrific achievement. So I want to make some comments about this Charlotte Walker, and just to let people know, you know, we're not only trying to talk to Charlotte Walker, but also Lisa Chesters and Mark Butler. You know, we've sent stuff to them. Dan Repacholi, he's the Labor representative for Hunter. Well, he's supposed to be a representative for Hunter, put it that way. Mark Butler is supposed to be the Australian Health Minister. So, but there's some massive concerns about Mark Butler being the representative for health of anything. In fact, I'm here to tell you that what Mark Butler has done has to put Australians in enormous danger, massive danger, with not pulling Australia out of the World Health Organization and the international health regulations and the One Health policy. These things are catastrophic. So, and we'd also like to talk to old sleazy Albanese. So he was in Ballarat in Victoria just last weekend, and or last Friday, sorry. And as luck would have it, he got up on stage and he told a guts full of lies, absolute barefaced crap. And the last time he was seen leaving Ballarat, he was being chased out of town by a whole heap of farmers in tractors which were in high-speed pursuit. So he didn't do too good. But this is the standard of the Labor Party. They sell you out. So we wanted to talk to this Charlotte Walker. So anyway, ring her office up and get the old standard, oh yes, well can you send an email? Basically what you want, which is the next best thing to just rack off. All right, just go the hell away, leave us alone. We don't want to have to talk to anybody who's going to ask us any questions. God no, can't have that. So we got a message back from Charlotte, our dear friend in South Australia, the senator there for, well, I'm not sure what she's a senator for. My opinion, just nothing but an arrogant little upstart who thinks she's above everybody else. But once again, that's a pretty well standard procedure for the Labor Party. I mean, let's face it. So anyway, she sent us back an email, which I suppose that's something, and said in part that for Billboard Battalion to want to do an interview with Charlotte Walker, in part the interview is they wouldn't do it. The senator will have to decline because the interview was being of self-interest. Now I'm assuming she's talking about self-interest to Billboard Battalion. This is the arrogance of these people, okay? So what we're actually interested in is the interest of the Australian people. Charlotte, mate, you may remember them, okay? I don't think you probably would, but remember the Australian people. That's why we're here. Quite frankly, old mate, Charles, I've got a whole lot of better things to do than chase around politicians. But at the end of the day, the politicians are, well, I'm not going to use the words that are appropriate and would fit and what a red-blooded Australian vernacular would be. So I don't think much of you, Charlotte. Now, we saw you standing up there making your maiden speech, and then Sleazy Albanese was there to congratulate you and all the rest of them, the other side of politics, whilst across the chamber there, and hugs and handshakes. And this seems to happen quite a lot. But if we get down to your speech, I found to be, well, laughable, actually, as was many of the others in the Labor Party who made their speeches. Just full of crap, actually, I think. Because if we look at things that were said, it's all about supposedly supporting Australians. We heard many of the politicians in policy, getting Australians into housing, creating jobs. Lisa Chester's, Mark Butler, Dan Ripiccioli, you're full of crap, a whole lot of you. And I think that here, as just ordinary Australians, and actually try and get some honesty out of you politicians. So we one of the things that I wanted to touch on was we hear a lot about from the Labor Party about the NDIS, and a number of the politicians here in the Labor Party tell us how much they care for people who are on the NDIS, people who have handicaps, and you people lie. You tell everybody how much you care about people who are handicapped, what you're trying to do to help them, when in actual point of fact, if we look at Mark Butler, the supposed health minister, what a joke, what an arrogant liar, who did not pull us out of the World Health Organization international health regulations. Now, I think that you people in the Labor Party should just maybe come clean, and also I'd add the Greens into that too, possibly probably Jackie Lambie, all right, and actually start telling people the truth. Tell people about what is going to be the extension of NDIS. Tell people about what you really think about people who have suffering handicaps, people who are old. You tell people what you've signed us up to, Mark Butler and Sleazy Albanese and this other Charlotte Walker and Lisa Chesters and all the rest of this lot. You tell the people what you've actually signed them up to. You try and tell them how you care, the hell you do. Why don't you actually be honest for once? My call, my opinion, I'll put it that way, is that a lot of these maggoty politicians in the Labor Party and a few of the others are actually there to make a huge amount of money. Do you think that they give a stuff about you, the Australian people? Not likely. Not on your life. We've sent emails to this arrogant piece of, well, Mark Butler, the fearless federal minister for health, and we've wanted to do an interview with him. But anyway, it's become very obvious that these people are not into talking to a normal person. They're not into talking to an honest person. They want to only talk in a very controlled way to media who kiss their backsides. That's all they're interested in doing. Because if we look in reality, the people now who own most of the mainstream media are working for the same people that your Labor Party is. And I'd also add your Greens, possibly Jackie Lambie. We'll have a bit of a chat. We'll try and catch up with Jackie Lambie because she's pretty good on running a red-hot diatribe against, well, lots of people, particularly Conservative side. But anyway, back to our old mates at the Labor Party. Where are you, you cowards? You gutless, weak cowards. Come out and talk to Farmer Wade. Come out and talk to Billboard Battalion. We know you've got all your millions and millions of dollars behind you. We know you've got all your advisors and all your people who make sure that you don't have to actually answer any questions. We know that you've got a media that is complicit. You know, we talk about the ABC. Well, the ABC is an absolute joke. They couldn't report anything honestly if their life depended on it. I would also say that we, Billboard Battalion, are actually doing the job that the ABC should be. And I think they pull about $1.2 billion a year, if my figures are correct, around that figure, to run an absolute scam campaign. They run a scam campaign for the extremist left, and they run a scam campaign for the World Economic Forum, the UN and the WHO. This is who they work for. So are you going to get any honest answers from the ABC? Not on your life. Are you going to get any honest answers from most of your mainstream media? Not likely. Absolutely not. If you get a gig to go and talk to any of these politicians, then I would suggest to you you're dirty, you're corrupt, you're backing liars, you're not going to tell the truth. So that's why we're here. That's why we're in Canberra, to start bringing some pressure to these maggoty scumbags and get them on the right footing, get them on the right page, and to get them to tell the Australian people how much danger these Labor Party, but not just them, but the Labor Party is putting people in. They are liars, they are scumbags, they will not talk to you, they refuse to talk to you through us. So therefore, we're going to push them, and we're going to be in Parliament, and we're going to see the horrendous joke that it is. And we're going to bring some light to this. And one of the biggest problems we've got in these parliaments are these clowns that they call speakers, the speakers of the House. They are ridiculous. We see a lot of these politicians, and particularly the left, continually interfering, interjecting, talking over the top of people, yelling across the chamber there. What the hell are these idiots doing? I mean, they may as well not be there. I could take the job as the Speaker of the Parliament and we'd sort this crap out of me, to tell you, real fast. So, at the end of the day, we thought we'd do a little bit of just a g'day to the Labor Party. And I think that it's very interesting to note that we've got all these Labor Party flea bags who won't talk to you. And I'm cutting up a bit rough on them now, because we're not going to continually be just ignored, brushed off. We're going to give it to them, because that's what needs to happen. So we'll be doing an interview later on today with Malcolm Roberts from One Nation. And I must say that One Nation have been very, very terrific in accommodating interviews with us. And we'll be talking to Malcolm Roberts today about some of this housing policy stuff. All the Labor Party could do was yell and scream at Malcolm Roberts across the chamber. And the clown who was the supposed speaker was, I'm not sure if he's deaf, maybe selective deafness. Maybe because he's leaning very hard towards the left, who knows? But we can only report what we actually physically see. And this is what we see. So I think it's fair enough to say that the people in the Labor Party are really just an overprivileged, arrogant bunch of parasites who are not there to represent you. They are there to represent themselves and their other interests. They are pushing policies that the World Economic Forum want. And these policies are about destroying Australia. It is that simple. So this is where it's come to. I think the Labor Party, these politicians, they're not politicians, I don't know what the hell they are, but I think that they have an attitude of they are so high above the rest of us. They think they're some kind of gods. Well, let's put them to the test, and I'm pretty sure, because we bump into them every now and again in the Parliament there, down the street, in the cafe there, you know. So I'm pretty sure we're going to start livening things up a bit, because these scumbags have not had any pressure like this, I don't think, ever. I think that the ABC has a role to play and a job to do. Well, they're laughable. You wouldn't trust them as far as you could throw them. And I think they should sack the entire ABC, and they should hand the money over to BB. Let us run the thing. Get rid of all them, a bunch of lefties, and they know damn well you don't actually tell the truth, or you get the flick from the ABC. We've seen so much of this occur. But one thing that I wanted to talk to, other than this Charlotte chick here, we wanted to talk to Lisa Chesters a few months ago about these upcoming IHRs and what they mean for the people of Bendigo, what they mean for workers, for union workers, for tradies, for farmers. The whole thing is an But where is Lisa Chesters? She doesn't seem to be able to be found. She doesn't answer the phone, and the people in the office who do lie to you. They are barefaced liars. They tell you, oh, well, you know, we'll pass this on to the people who need to know. Yes, we'll get back to you. No, they don't. Send an email. You send emails. Don't make any difference. So it's about time we got some honesty. And we're going to start laying it on these people, because the days of them being able to just do whatever they want and be covered up by a corrupt, lying scumbag media are over. Now, we will bring it to you from here. We will put the pressure on them, and we'll talk to the politicians who do want to talk to us, and we'll ask them the tough questions, because we've got to get this nailed. Because what they've done is they've set our country up to be destroyed. I talked about the IHRs, and briefly, and we'll examine this a lot more very, very soon. The IHRs, the International Health Regulations, are designed to hand the total control of our country over to a bunch of terrorists in the World Health Organization, the serious, shattering consequences in line for Australia. So therefore, we need to bust out of that, and we need to let people know what that's about, and what Mark Butler and what Anthony Albanese and your old mate Charlotte Walker and Lisa Chess, what they've signed us up to. This is a catastrophic disaster, and we need to get out of this totally. I think they've locked us in to a way where we can't. And you see these arrogant scum who walk around in the parliament and they laugh and joke and they think they're doing a great job. They scream at the people across the other side, and all they are is about arrogant, stupid, cheap shots. And in the meantime, they know what they've condemned Australia to. And they know what the real fate of people who are handicapped. They know the real fate of people who are older. They know the real fate of people who are sicker, because they've signed us up to it. They know the real fate of the people who they call the useless class. The people who are superfluous to requirements. So therefore, we're going to try and do whatever we can to hold these scumbags to account and get our country back. We saw massive rallies over this weekend, March for Australia. And we're starting to see the Australian people flexing some muscle. When you see rank and file normal people coming out to say we need to fight for Australia, you know these filthy politicians they've dumped us in it. So therefore, we're going to push them, we're going to keep pushing them, and we're going to go as hard as we can. So I'll leave it at that, just a little bit of light reading, and let these Labor Party people, some of these Greenies and other independents and whoever else is doing the wrong thing, we're going to put them on notice and let them know this is game on. The time where you just waltz around, sell us out, wreck the country, pick up your massive checks, get your snout in the troughs, do all your insider trading, do all your scumbag deals with these parasites from overseas, sell us out to the multinational corporates. And this all goes back to one of these Labor Party scumbags back in the day, Gough Whitlam, signing up to the Lima Agreement. This is why our country is being wrecked. This is why you're seeing countries all over the world being destroyed. And these Labor people, and we'll talk about the Greens again soon, this is why this is happening. It is by design. They want it gone. The Labor Party here are supposed to represent workers and industry and everything like that, jobs for Australians, families, security. No, mate. They're selling you out. And I, for one, cannot understand really why union people would continue to support these scumbag Labor Party. And I say this to you. I think the big problem is that the union leadership is just so joined by the hip or complicit in what the actual Labor Party is doing that the rank and file members don't get a say. The union leadership just do what they want them to do, and that is to see our industries and your jobs blown to pieces. They want your jobs gone. And I can tell you right now, over my lifetime, I've seen Australia basically brought to its knees. We've seen iconic industries, manufacturing, food production have been wiped out. So I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of these politicians actually hate you. They are bringing in policies that are wiping out your life. You talk about cost of living, you talk about people who can't find life. You talk about cost of living, you talk about people who can't find accommodation. That is by design. And the Labor Party are the rally on the weekend was about immigration, and everybody knows that this country was built on immigration. But this country has a certain capacity and a certain culture. And when you start bringing in numbers of people from overseas, such enormous numbers that alter or affect or destroy that capacity or our culture, then you have a big problem. That's what's happening, and this is why it's by design. So we see these Labor losers get up there in Parliament and yell and scream and carry on about people being racists and all the rest of it. Well, come and talk to Billboard Battalion. We'll give you an opportunity and we'll drill down into your claims, your accusations, your insults about the Australian people. Come and talk to Farmer Wade. Hey, I'm just a bloke from the bush, mate. You people in the Labor Party, you've got all the millions and billions of dollars and all the lawyers and school teachers and all these other people in it there that are supposed to be so smart. Well, I'm just an Aussie, mate. Just want to ask you some questions that real Aussies would ask you, normal Australians would ask you. But seems like you're too frightened. I think you're cowards. I think you're weak. I think you're gutless. Well, these are my opinions. Everything I've said here today, that's my opinions. It's up to you to make your own mind up. So, but let's keep this up, and we'll keep bringing this to you, and we're going to keep pushing these people, and we will run into them here. That's one of the things about being here in Canberra. We will run into them, we will see them, and we will be able to put the questions to them. Not in any kind of a violent way or that sort of stupid nonsense. Just simply ask the questions. That's what we're here for, to try and get the truth. And I'm quite sure we're going to find other politicians who are going to start speaking against them, and are going to start calling them out. And we'll report that. So let's get Australia back on track. On the back of everything that's happened just recently, let's get the decent Australians back on track. Let's put the pressure on these politicians. Let's start ringing them up. Let's start email them, text them, and turn out to help support Australia and pull these politicians back into line. Because many of them are arrogant, corrupt parasites, and they're in the business of destroying your life, your family's life, and our country. So I think that probably that'll just about do for the minute. We've got to get back inside here. We've brought to you a report today. We're just outside Parliament House there. You can see the blue Aussie flag that's flying up there. That got a big run last weekend. That was all over Australia, the blue Aussie flag. There were some red ensigns as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that very, very soon, because there's a lot of things that were happening that were really not cool. And one of the things where we saw the unions decide that they owned the Southern Cross flag, the one we've got right here, and that people shouldn't be using that in a protest or anything like that. So, I mean, what a joke. These clowns are fools. At the end of the day, what we're here for is to represent Australian workers. We're doing the job as well as the ABC, as what the Australian unions should be doing. And I can tell you, I've had a bit to do with the unions over the years, and my opinion, the union leaders are not in any way, shape or form interested in the union members, the average, everyday, rank and file workers. So, but then they're so tied up to the Labor Party, you can understand why. Anyway, that's a story for another day. We'll keep going with that very, very soon. Thanks everybody for watching. Today's Tuesday, September the 2nd, 2025. Farmer Wade here for Billboard Battalion. We're bringing you the news, the real news, the actual news from Parliament House here in Canberra. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.